5, 6, 4,
5.
One of them ones anyway.
How many coffees you had today?
This is my third one. I ran out of coffee this morning. Do you know what? I've started with this fucking story I had this morning actually. So I ran out of instant coffee and I've got like beans and that in the cupboard. So I was like, I made one on the stove. Because I'm a lazy twat and I forgot to clean out my plunger one.
Yeah.
I was like, right, fucking clean that out. And I was like, nah, leave that drying. Get the one that you put the water in the bottom, then you put the little bean thing inside there and then put the, I can't remember, is it a percolator or something it's called? Something like that. So I was putting it on and my stove has got the prongs that kind of go in and the base of this coffee thing just about fits on it. I'm talking like, if it's off by a millimetre, it's wobbling and it's just like unstable.
Yeah.
I was like, right, sound, got it balanced, got it on there, put the stove on, let it boil and bubble, and I was like, right, just potting around, making like tidying the kitchen up, next to the bathroom, come back out, and the thing had just fucking fell on the side, and I was like, fuck's sake, and there was just coffee all over my kitchen top, all over my kitchen floor.
Was this the first one of the day? Was this supposed to be the first one of the day?
No, this is the second one of the day. The first one was the last one, the instant coffee.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I was like, I just fancied another small brew. So then I was like, right, second attempt, I'll nail it, I'll keep an eye on it. Anyways, put it back on, cleaned it all out, cleaned everything up. Anyways, potting around, phone call goes, so I get on the phone, and I was like, shit, bad signal in my kitchen. So I go in the back, finish the phone call, come back in, exact same thing happened again, it fucking fell off the side, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So I was like, right, took the top of the stove off, and I was like, right, I'll just put it on top of the actual hob.
It's a good job you're good at teaching jiu-jitsu.
I know, otherwise I'm
fucking
fine. Yeah. If I was a barista, I'd be losing money every day, mate. And then, so I put it on top of there, and I was like, right, I'm gonna stay here now and watch it. Stayed there and watched it. Lift the lid up when I could sort of hear and see the steam coming out of it. I was like, oh great. Put it back down again. I was like, right, do you know what? I'm just gonna lift the lid up and I'm gonna watch it just so when the water gets clearer, I'll take it off. The lid comes up, I let go of it, boom, again.
Fucking hell, mate.
And I was like, I was supposed to be third time lucky here, what the fuck's going on? So in the fourth time I actually made the right coffee, but
Ed was gone.
Ed was gone by then, yeah. Sort of sat down and I was like, no, I'm not even put it in a port book up and I'm taking the dog out for a walk. I need to get out of this house for an hour.
Crazy, mate.
Yeah. Sugar. All the bleeps. But yeah, we thought with how was your week been, by the way?
Yeah, good man. Just ticking along with a fucking this thing on my leg.
Yeah.
Fucking.
We've had some really good news about that, though, haven't you?
Yeah, good news, mate. Don't need surgery for now. Have this on for 8 weeks and then rescan it and see how we go from there.
Oh,
So,
exciting
yeah.
stuff. So moving around like Robocop and
Pretty good. It's just shit being on all the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have to keep it on when you're sleeping as well?
Supposed to, but just take it off.
Yeah.
I feel like when you go to bed, I'm like, oh nah.
Not fair.
Yeah, all good, man. Grateful got this on to the surgery. So.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like I say 8 weeks, get good results from your scan. You can like reintroduce it slowly from there.
Yeah, come back, fucking blow it out again. Some little fucking blue belt puts me in the heel. Bastards.
So, here's a good one actually, just before we get into the main subjects today. How have you been, like, mentally, and how have you been keeping, sort of like, have you been keeping yourself sane without having your main sport? No.
Going nuts? No, I'm not. I'm not. Just a lot of space. When you take grappling out of your life and you normally train 6 days a week, a lot of space. But as long as you're watching the sport and you're coaching the sport, which I do, I'm here, teaching classes and doing the private sessions. That's keeping me involved. I think the worst thing you can do is go missing, isn't it? For the time frame that you're injured. So yeah, man, it's been weird, like being able to move my neck and just not feeling sore. That's been definitely weird. Yeah.
Would you say like your gym routine switched up a little bit, or
No.
no?
Still still doing bench press and bicep curls.
Hey, you've got to keep the glamour muscles going, haven't you?
Gotta do the beach waves. Fucking nothing's changed.
Too right.
I do a few light weights on the legs.
Yeah.
So that's probably changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking hobbling around the gym with this one. What's fucking funny was I went to the gym the other day. Obviously I've got this on. Some guy in his fucking 60s. Had one on the other leg. And we had pictures together. Hey.
It's like patchwork here.
Yeah, and I was fucking feeling really down that day. And he'd ripped his fucking quad off. Yeah, and he was telling me how he ripped his quad off his ball, off his leg. And I was like,
Full of illusion, like off the ball.
yeah, detached. His quad detached playing football. Played five-a-side football. And he was like, how did you do it? I said, wrestling, mate. Fucking hell. Stick to your five-a-side. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was bad.
Fucking hell.
And he had like a Forrest Gump brace on. Like,
Full count.
fucking steel fucking thing. And
Yeah.
it was fixed like that. And I was like, I'm not doing bad. Because at least I can bend it.
But I say, I'm trying to think, imagine the force that must have been going through the quad there for that to come off.
Yeah, yeah. Crazy time, and we're both in the gym at the same time. As well.
Yeah.
It's
Small world, isn't it?
It's funny.
Okay, now it's like when you see, like if you go to the gym and you see somebody else wearing like a grappling t-shirt sometimes, in it. You sort of look over, there's like eye contact, or like the Spider-Man meme, like. But yeah, we were speaking this week about like topics for discussion and things, and you brought up like a really good one that I think is quite relevant at the moment as well. And it's to do like training methods, old school versus new school. So what I'll do is I think we'll start off with you kind of going in what your definition is of that, and then I'll sort of retort with my version of it, and then we'll just go back and forth with there, because I think we've both got similar but also slightly different nuances with it. So I think it's...
Yeah, and I'd say it's not even versus one another, is it? It's not old school versus new school, it's just old school and new school are kind of coinciding together, aren't they? Really? So my view of it is, I'd say old school, not the old schools in the bowing and like the very rigid kind of training structure. I'd see old school as students that come in the gym and they just solely listen to the coach, and they digest the information, they come back again, kind of making natural progression, not watching content, asking a lot of questions. That's what I view old school as, and then I view the new school fucking nerds as doing the bare minimum, and doing the bare minimum in class. So they're not doing the wrestling, they're not learning the stand-up aspect, they're not doing any hard rounds, they're watching instructionals, they're coming in and they're only drilling one aspect of the game. Now, that can be good and bad. Obviously it can be good, you're getting very good in one area, you're sharpening your sword, very bad in that you're limiting your skill set. Yeah. So off the bat, that's what I put out there as.
Yeah, because for me, like I do kind of I define it quite different with the new school versus old school methodology of like
That's
the
in
old...
a nutshell.
Oh yeah, in a nutshell, obviously there's going to be more nuances. Whereas I kind of look at like the old school as an old, like kind of more rigid, like framework to sort of train under and teach under, and even like to the extent where I remember the old school gyms would like try and extend in how you'd live your life outside of the gym, in the sense of like where you train and
just to add a bit on from my side, I'm talking old schools in 7 years ago.
Fair, yeah.
You're 17 years.
Yeah,
ago.
it's fair, yeah.
Let's put that out there.
Yeah.
Simon was grappling and I was fucking out on parks drinking.
Playing. And the new school for me is kind of like taking a more modern approach, with using the more resources and kind of, because I do love some of the old school approach and I do love some of the new school approach, and I think we need to try and get the best of both. And I think from my take on like what your view on the new school is that for me that's come with the explosion of the sport.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah, like I
getting
said, can be good.
yeah, because we're getting a lot more hobbyists in who maybe kind of don't really desire to compete, and they're coming in more maybe for the social aspect and an alternative workout, and just sort of developing that skill set. And where I sort of agree with your approach is when that sort of that new school approach, or the sort of half-assed approach, I'll call it, want to put that amount of effort in, but are expecting world-changing results.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, we got plenty of hobbyists in the gym who turn up, train, chat with the lads, and they're happy with their sort of rate of progress because they're aware of the work they're putting in. Whereas, like, every club's got them. There's similar sort of approach, but expecting more results from what they're actually getting. And that for me is where sort of like the new and the old sort of should merge. Because for me, I think using instructionals too much will hinder your progress massively. Because in my opinion, it takes away from the aspect of critical thinking, where like I take more person from watching matches, watching rounds in here, training footage, and watching like vlogs of people like training around gyms. Like I take more from that because I'm looking at it with a critical eye of breaking down, seeing what they're doing, seeing what works for them, if our body types match, and if I can apply it to my game. And I think for me, white and blue belts, if they're going down the instructional route, should 100% be like I've said that to a few of the lads in here, where if you're watching instructionals and there's a specific move that you're trying to sort of refine, say it's a pass, watch that one segment, then watch a match with the exact same kind of passing technique going there so you can see how it works live, then go back, watch the instructional muted, so you pay more attention to the details and what they're doing rather than what they're saying. Then go back to the match again, see where those details that you noticed in there work, and kind of cross-referencing that, but slowly over time start taking more away from match footage rather than instructionals.
I can agree with the instructional. Everything to do with instructionals can only be a good thing. I mean, you're watching more jiu-jitsu, and ultimately that can only be a good thing. My issue that I find confusing is, why don't you ask the coach and let him sift through the bullshit in his mind and give you honest feedback, show you the move, drill it in class. If you want to watch Joseph Chen do it and you want to buy his instructionals, fucking do it, it's world class. But you're not world class, and you're not a professional athlete, and you're not a genetic freak, you're not training 3 times a day. That's where I think the disconnect comes. You know, like, you've been training 17 years, you've fucking watched thousands of hours of classes, like, in person. Why is a blue belt not coming and saying, oh, how can I do this move? Like, why are they watching it? They're watching it and then they're full sparring it, you know, not playing around with it. And then I think it'd be, do both, you know, watch instructional and then come in and ask about it.
Oh, 100%. Like, that's some of the things that like they'll do in here. Like sometimes, so what was one recently? I think it was like a leg attack, and it was something that I wasn't familiar with. So, to be honest, I was honest with him. I was like, I'm not familiar with this. Let me see it, play around with it, and I'll come back to you next week with it. And that's for me. That if I'm not familiar with a skill set or a move set that's being presented to me, I will do that. And I think a lot of players underestimate their coach's ability to analyse and break down a set of moves that they don't play. So for me, like, if someone's like, I don't play K-guard, but if you show me what you're doing and you'll show me how you're playing it, I can more than happily sit there, watch you, see where your frames and posts are, see where your hips are, see where your head is in relation to everything else, and give you pointers on improving that position and that entry.
Yeah.
And giving you that live feedback there while you're doing the movement, as opposed to watching the DVD, coming in, trying it all night, not knowing if you're doing it right because you don't know how it's supposed to feel.
Yeah.
And then going back home, cross-referencing with the DVD again, coming back in again, doing the same again, but still not knowing how it feels, and just going back and forth without having that, like say, combine both. Because I do love it when people come in with me, especially if it's a style of play that I don't play.
Yeah.
Like-
Questions are great, aren't they?
Yeah.
Questions from students are great.
Mm.
It's the disconnect of when they've watched an instructional and then you see them practicing it with someone. And then if that's what they want to do, all the best. But they kind of disconnected a little bit from the learning, from the human aspect of it. It's like you're not coming training as much than you could be. You're watching it like on your own, and then you kind of practice it on your own. Like, and if you want to do that again, that's fine.
Yeah.
There's humans in the room, isn't there?
Yeah. And like I say, when you compete, it's an individual sport, but training and everything outside of competition, to me, it's a team sport. And if you're picking something up from a DVD, like for me, I'm a big advocate of bring it to the whole room, because if you don't understand it properly, there might be somebody else who already plays it, or somebody else who's studied it maybe a year or two ago, who's already got a bit more of an in-depth knowledge, or it's giving other people the awareness of what you're looking for, so then you have no choice but to get better at it. Because if you go, okay, this is the sequence of moves that I'm playing at the moment from this position, your partner's going to go, yeah, they might turn around and be like, I'm not going to let you get there that easy.
Yeah.
So then that's going to challenge you and force you to get better as a player, to then look for multiple avenues and pathways to get to that sequence.
Yeah.
And in the same light, if it's a brand new skill set, you can just say to your partner, look, I'm trying to play with this, can you just let me get there, and can we work through it and just give me relative resistance so then I can improve my skill set on it.
I guess the hardest thing from a coach's perspective that I see and feel when I'm teaching is when I know someone's learnt the end mechanics of a heel hook.
Yeah.
And I know they're not that interested in a collar tie. That's the hardest for me.
Yeah.
Because I feel for them. Because I think, where are you going to be in 10 years? Like, if someone does not let you get inside position and get a single leg X, you're fucked. Like, you literally have no game whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's hard to go over and tell them that, because they actually need to know that themselves. You can only teach what you can teach, but you can only, like, they've got to be a willing dance partner, haven't they?
Yeah. And it's the same as well, like the other way around as well, where if, like, you see it on the comp where good wrestlers go in there, but they don't know how to pass a guard, they don't know how to play off the back, and like, and it's
one-dimensional mindset, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's kind of like, you need to, like, big thing that I'm a big fan of, I feel like I'm just talking a lot here, is have both.
Have both, yeah.
But you might only need to show one, but have both in the gym, have both in your back pocket. But if you come against a good wrestler and you kind of go, they're better on my feet here, I might have to pull here and play at my back, you've got that in your back pocket. Or if someone's a better guard player than you might turn around and be like, I need to fucking wrestle this guy now. And you've got that in your back pocket, and it's having the option for both.
Yeah. And I find, like, a lot of the students that I've trained with and coached over the years, the ones that are predominantly watching the instructionals, that they're kind of not really battle testing it against like people in the gym.
Yeah.
They're doing it against lower belts, but if you watch an instructional, let's say you're a blue belt and you're watching like an instruction, you're watching instructionals on leg locks, whatever you are. If you're going against purple, brown, blacks, you're not getting them that you're watching.
Yeah.
Because when you're thinking about it, a fucking brown belt's pressure passing you like fuck, and you're thinking, shit, I have to frame. Well, what did your DVD do? You know, because you've not really been battle tested.
Yeah.
So yeah, do both. Hold the new skill together.
Yeah. So what's one thing I like about of that double approach as well, of if you are trying something new, like I do think, like say starting on, like work it up through the ranks and experience, but ask the more experienced belts, how can I find this on you?
Well, I will say it's hard because the lower belts, a lot of the times with this new school generation, they don't respect you because you've not won anything. Because you're not a Joseph Chen, you're just kind of a purple or brown belt in the gym.
Yeah.
And they don't realise they are the 1%.
Probably even a smaller fraction than that, to be fair.
Yeah, like they don't realise like a fucking purple belt is a fucking purple belt. Like,
Yeah.
You know, how many purple belts are around gyms these days? Not many.
Yeah.
Not many purple or brown belts.
And like if you look at, like, that's it, we were speaking about this before we started, like Keenan Cornelius got in a lot of trouble a couple of years ago off the Gracies, didn't he, for saying a good purple belt will beat a 1990s black belt. And I wholeheartedly agree with it. Like, the game has evolved so much from like where it was 20-30 years ago, and like I say, a good blue belt, good competitive blue belt will beat a lot of black belts from 20-30 years ago as well. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. It's, for me, it's a sign that the sport has evolved, and we want the sport to evolve. We want the black belts of today to be better than the black belts of yesterday. And I say it's not saying to discredit it. We're just sort of saying it as it is, because, like you say, a purple belt is a fucking. They put the time in.
A legit purple belt.
Yeah, legit purple
Not
belt.
fucking,
Yeah.
time served purple.
Yeah. And like, they put the time in. They've worked hard, and they've developed the skill set to get there.
Yeah.
And when you sort of see the sort of newer players, looking at them and maybe not giving them the respect that they've kind of earned over the time they've been in the mat.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you've got to put in perspective that these guys now who are purple belts might have been black belts 15, 20 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, whenever.
Yeah.
Like,
And more so the purple and brown belts that are not gifted athletically.
yeah,
I've loved training with them over the years and picking their brains.
yeah,
The guys that are average sized and they've got a brown belt on, fucking ask them questions.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like how many of those you come across where they say they've not been, say, physically athletic,
Yeah.
but they've been tricky. Like, they've got every little trick under the sleeve where you put your arm through one hole and they've got the wrist and they've done something else with it.
Yeah.
Um,
And here's my problem with the new school is that they don't put themselves through the fire like those types of people.
yeah,
So if you're a white or blue belt only watching instructionals, not doing the 10 rounds, not doing the wrestling rounds, you ain't going to be a brown belt.
No.
You ain't going to get to purple belt
Mm.
by sitting to guard and attacking legs.
It hardens you a little bit as well. It hardens your mentality a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's, and not in the sense of like you might have been soft or sort of whatever, or not sort of like mentally tough beforehand, but there's a different level of resilience that you develop when you are wrestling hard, when you are putting yourself through the fire, when you're like allowing like lower ranked players to get deep on submissions, so you have to work your way out of it. Because that's another thing that I've been speaking about in classes. I mentioned it. It would have been. It was definitely this week during one of the warm-ups, and we were doing like a bit of a clinch warm-up. And I was like, if you're with a less experienced player and you're noticing that you're getting a lot more success than them, standing or even like rolling, like for me, like this advice for me, I'd put across the whole game. It's like, you're gonna benefit nothing from just train wrecking someone like less experienced than you. If it's that kind of round and you kind of both have that like little bit of an agreement there where you kind of go, no, we want to just test our stones here.
Yeah.
Then yeah, go for it. But like every round can't be like that, and allowing that less experienced player to maybe get onto your back and start threatening your neck, and you're now in a deep position with a deep submission threat, that's gonna make their attacks much better and develop their confidence, so then they're going to be able to then take that on to other players and just improve their game overall. But secondly, you're developing your defence, you're developing your late stage defence, as well as you're finding out where your limits are against someone who you can control the pace with, you can almost dictate where the match goes, and if you tap, you trust them enough to let go. But you're getting deep into those like submissions and positions where you have to work yourself out of it, and when you've spent enough time in there with less experienced players, and when you get there with someone who's more experienced than you, you're going to be so much more composed, you're going to have much better knowledge of how to escape, you're going to have all the little tricks and tips, like say that the unathletic brown belts and purple belts are going to have, which you might not have developed if you never let anybody get that deep in a position on you.
Yeah.
Because if the first time you're that deep in a position with someone who's more experienced than you, someone who may be stronger than you, you're going to panic, see your ass, and you're going to end up tapping, and you're not going to learn anything from it.
Yeah, because you're not going to get your own way.
Yeah.
Put yourself in the defensive cycle.
Yeah.
If you've got 5 minutes to work in the round, start picking up after 3.
Yeah.
Or 4.
Yeah.
Let's see what their moves are. Pick up their attacking options.
Because I was talking about it. It might have been last night. I was talking about this with a couple of them, and I was saying like, that's it, yeah. Cause, one of the lads was attacking something, and I think I managed to like grab his wrist and sort of escape of it. And he turns to me, he's like, "That's that black belt magic, that. That's that black belt magic, that." Because it's fucking meant that. And I was like, it's from the times where like
Just been there,
yeah. And again, I've not, like I said, allowed people to sort of get there easily.
Black belts are good, by the way.
Yeah.
Black belt magic doesn't fucking exist.
That's it, yeah. Fucking jazz hands. And it's like, because I'm not letting people get there without having to earn the position and work for it, but I may not be defending as intently as possible because I want to see what they're going to do, and then I want to test my defence in these certain positions, especially if I know it's their primary attack. I want to be like, okay, if you're getting everybody in the gym with that, I want to see how it feels, and I want to see if I can defend it from a deep position.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then from there, I'll then speak with them about how they can make it better, and then their attack gets better, meaning my defence has got to get better, and I'll just let myself get put deeper and deeper into those positions. And at the end of the day, the whole gym gets better from doing that.
Yeah, definitely. What about the guys like we touched on that are mixing it well together? What about the guys that are not? Like if they're just kind of really obsessing with the instructional side of things, what would your advice be? Rather than just saying mix a bit of the old skill, what practical advice would you give?
So if they're intent on like sticking with instructionals,
or even just like a one kind of, you know, maybe they watch an instructional, or they might not even say it, but you can see they're kind of only focusing on one aspect. They're not really in all of the classes. They're not working an all-round game.
I'd say segment it. So when I first started training, I picked up an Eddie Bravo book. This was before you could get instructionals online or even DVD instructionals. It was books or magazines for a lot of it. And
so if you're listening, that's longer than a 15-second clip.
Yeah.
That's not
we might turn this into a 15-second clip. And at the start of the book, he gave advice on how to maximise the progress of the book. And he was like, go through it chapter by chapter, but don't progress to the next technique until you understand the technique that you're looking at. And since then, when I have looked at instructionals or when I have looked at, like, say, technique breakdowns, that's how I've approached it. So the one that really, like, where I cemented it in was playing bottom half guard, and it was going through, I think there was like 2 sweeps I was looking at, and I never actually finished the book.
Not 20 sweeps, 2.
Just 2. Oh, yeah. It's like, no, yeah, 2-0, yeah, then. And I was from 20, went to 200, and I never actually finished the book, to be honest with you. because I had it in an old training bag.
Because the pages got sticky.
Well, you know, did get excited over the after lockdown stuff, and I lost my training bag with the book in it, and I literally only got to the end of the first chapter, and I never looked beyond that first chapter because I was like, I don't need to yet because I've not mastered this part.
Yeah.
And that first chapter was literally 4 or 5 sweeps, and it took me, I think I had that book for about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And I just kept, after each time I'd come home from a session, I'd reflect on how the sweeps went and how I landed them, go back onto the book, and I'd be like, that's the detail I missed.
And what rank was you at this time?
This was like 6 months into training.
How many? Now people are worried about heel hook finisher that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something that you don't hear.
No.
Someone coming over to me and saying, "Can we go over a sweep?" Very rare.
Yeah.
Mad.
Yeah, I think everyone's after the flashy finishes now, and what I think people get away from is, like, especially when it's the new school and old school stuff, is if you look at the successful old school players, pinning, passing, smothering.
Sounds like new school.
I mean, the new school spinny shit and fucking like, well, it's,
Do you know what I mean?
everything's coming back round in a cycle, though, isn't it?
It's together.
Yeah.
It's together.
Yeah.
You can't get the heel hook. Like when you watch Gordon, there's a wet blanket on top.
Yeah.
When he's against the bigger player, plays smart, pulls guard, enters the legs. When he
Yeah.
sweeps them, what does he do? Wet blanket gets on top. So
Yeah.
both, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, but because I look at the old school, new school approaches, like the Gordon style there is the sort of more old school approach of, "Oh, I don't need to do flashy shit. I'm going to do the basics really well,
Yeah.
and I'm going to win in the same fashion every time, just by methodically breaking you down, working, progressing slowly, and getting to the finish." And for me, the new school is what I call spinny shit, where it's like doing whatever you can to get that Instagram highlight reel.
Yeah.
And the slow methodical isn't sexy. It's not going to look great at a highlight reel, but it gets results, and it's very demoralising for the person on bottom.
Do you mean like flashy shit as in like inversions or cartwheel
Yeah,
passes
and like when you see the clips on Instagram where you'll be like a 20-second clip, and they'll be like, look at this entry to get to the heel hook, and they'll start on the back and they'll end up on mount, then they'll do another roll, and then they'll do another roll, and they've passed arm lock, strangle, to get to the heel. And it's like, you've just wasted all the energy to go backwards, in my opinion, when you could have come over an armbar, head and armed, or guillotine them at this point.
Yeah.
And for me, that's the new school spinny shit. Like inversions and stuff, like I think it's newer when you look at the context of like grappling as a whole.
Yeah.
But for me, that's a legitimate technique to get out of a tight spot or enter into a tight spot. Yeah, it's just been associated with spinny shit because yeah, I'm just gonna call it what it is, spinny shit. It's been associated with, and don't get me wrong.
Reminds me of Nick Diaz when he said, "Oh, so everyone's with spinning shit now." So
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's like say down the pike, down the middle, it fucking works.
Yeah.
And I don't get me wrong, I enjoy playing the spinny shit sometimes. Like we've had some playful rounds where we're working and moving and doing shit we wouldn't do in a difficult, heavy round.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And like for me, I don't want to take away from the fun element of the sport, but also if you don't get the results you want, you need to be that practical side of it as well, where you are smashing, pinning, smothering, being horrible.
Yeah.
And it's going to make your teammates better, and it's going to make them more resilient, and it's going to make them go, you just got me like that, I've got to get you back like that now. And it becomes a cycle again where the whole room gets better.
Yeah, and I think just to say, like I'm not against instructionals. Like I've watched some instructionals, but just minimal.
Yeah.
For me, at white and blue belt, arm drags were really effective for me. So they were one basic move that I've stuck with over the years. And I watched a bit of Danaher's stuff on how, like Gordon does it as well, when they do an arm drag, they're always on the right hip. So if they're doing a right arm drag, 2-on-1 arm drag, and the butterfly guard, they're on the right hip. And I saw that and I was like, that's fucking powerful. Because normally I'm quite square with butterfly guard. I don't even watch it again. I need to go and do it. I need to do it for a few years.
Yeah.
And now I do catch most people in any gym with an arm drag into a double leg.
Yeah.
Fucking basic.
I've been caught on that fucking countless times.
Basic,
Yeah.
But it's not sit to guard, inverted, fucking 50-50, all the other stuff. And if you're really good at that stuff, fucking kudos to you, you know, that's fantastic.
Oh, 100%.
All the best, but I've got to standing up. Can you stand up? Are you a blue belt that knows how to stand up?
If someone sits onto your butterfly guards and they shut down the inversions, can you work effectively?
And they wave you up and embarrass you in the match, say get the fuck up, and you're like, oh, I'll just butt scoot over. I don't want to stand up. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. And for me as well, it's like for those same players, if someone does set up the butterflies, ties up the body lock, gets past, what attacks have you got? Because we've all come against them players as well, or we've trained with people where once, especially that since leg locks got more popular, once you get past the legs and they've not got leg entries, what have they got?
Yeah.
And like I say, it does sound like we're fucking beating down on leg lockers or like instructional users. I love leg locks. Yeah. But it's kind of like, don't handicap your game and handicap your progress. We're
coaches as normal people, hobbyists, and we're proud to do that. We're not fucking world champions. We're never going to be.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. We're coaching normal people. We don't want them to fucking pigeonhole their skill set. That's literally what we're getting at. We don't want to see white, blue, purple belts not learn the all-round skill set. That's literally it.
Yeah, and it's like you say, like hobbyists, they've got very limited time through the week. So if you can get into training maybe 4-5 hours a week, and that's spread across 2 or 3 nights, you need to make those times effective. And if you're maybe not focusing on the right elements of your game, you're not going to make the progress that you want.
Yeah.
And like we said in the episodes before, if you're not sure of what elements of your game that you need to add in, speak to your coach, speak to your teammates. Yeah. Or if you're catching everybody with the same entry, same submission, and the same sequence, take it out of your game. See how much success you have.
Yeah, that's a massive point. And to add on to that, if you're someone that, because I do notice some of the guys here that do this, if you're someone that kind of does solely open mat rounds, and I don't see like a lot of technique classes, that's not going to work for you forever.
No.
Like if you're submitting like most of the raw belts with your subset of moves, don't be down in 6 months when the game changes and your skills have stayed the same.
Yeah.
Because, like I said a minute ago, at white and blue belt, my arm drags were fire. But guess what? I started getting leg locked, and I had to work on the leg lock game, and then I had to work on the back control, and I had to work on my deep. You've got to do it all.
Yeah.
And I'm not even good.
You tell a bit of a lie there, mate.
I'm okay. I think I'm okay, but again, we're bringing up I'm talking about the white and blue belts that come in and they've got the pigeonhole in the game. I only do no-gi and I only do leg locks. Great, mate. Well, you're going to get smashed for the next 25 years if that's all you've got.
Yeah.
Because...
And it's not giving themselves to have a chance to have longevity in the sport either. Because once the leg lock stops working, or like say the rest of the room figures out, okay, well if I don't put my foot here, or if I shut the knee line down and X, Y and Z and get past the hips, I can beat them. Yeah. And once they figure that out, and your leg locks or I know we keep saying leg locks, but it's just the most example that I've come across over the years that I've trained. It's very demoralising when your game doesn't work and you've not got any other tools to use from there, and you're not gonna want to continue the sport because you've pigeonholed yourself in there. So you're losing a hobby that you've spent years developing a skill set in because you've not honed the rest of the skill set there.
Yeah. If you're gonna train, hopefully for the rest of your life, how are you gonna do that with one aspect of grappling? I just don't see how that's gonna work. You're just gonna get found out, aren't you?
Yeah. To go back to your point as well about the ones that, like say only the open mat rope, the rollers, and they don't do too many classes. That'd be a new way. You'll back so much rash guard there soon. Open mat rollers. What would you say? Someone their schedule primarily means that they can maybe make minimal technique classes, but due to their like life commitments or whatever, they can primarily make like open mat sessions. What would your advice be to them to make progress and make sure that they don't stagnate?
Do you think that they can't get to technique classes, or do you think they're choosing not to?
Let's say, for this example, they can't.
They can't.
Due to work commitments or like family commitments.
Yeah.
It could even be a case of their nearest gym's like an hour away, and due to that commute as well, the times that they can get there are primarily sort of like open mat times.
Yeah. I'd just dive into what you were saying about putting yourself in bad positions, because I have no problem if you can only spar. I think that's great, because a lot of my early years was doing 15 rounds sparring you.
Yeah.
ASW. It's the mindset of sparring hard for 15 rounds or 10 rounds on a Saturday. Like, it's just fucking stupid. You got to look at jiu-jitsu as it's quite dumb in that it's unlike any other sport. If you're only sparring, you don't go with your mates on a weekend and play tennis 100%, sprinting laterally, fucking lunging, whacking the ball. You're gonna blow your ACL out. Yeah. If you do that every Saturday, or you're gonna pop your Achilles and be out 6 months. Come in with like, okay, I'm gonna do. I was telling one of the guys the other day, I said, come in and practice wrestling for 5 rounds. Do the technique for 5 rounds. When the clock goes on, shoot a single, shoot a double, drag your partner up, shoot it again. Then do 5 rounds of sparring. You know, if you want to do free sparring.
Yeah.
Don't just spar for 10 rounds and yes, I've fucking tapped 8 white belts and fucking get off to the pub. Like, it's just fucking stupid.
No, it makes sense, and great advice that, to be fair, as well. Yeah, because like I say, everyone's like outside of life goodness is very different, but that's some stellar advice there on like making that progress. Like I like that about splitting the session as well. So like the first 5 rounds, if you want to work on your wrestling, practice wrestling for them first 5 rounds.
Just because it's open mat doesn't mean it's full sparring.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get that wrong. They think, oh, the clock's on. Oh, I've got to spar.
Yeah.
Well, what are you actually doing though? Because you're trying to pass someone's guard for 4 minutes 59 seconds, and then the clock off, and you off to the side getting a drink, and you're not actually doing anything.
It's like as we do the lunchtime sessions here, Tuesday, Thursdays, and like they kind of more are kind of like technical rolling rounds, as opposed to in here trying to beat the fuck out of each other. Like, because we've got them sessions Monday, Saturday, Wednesday night wrestling, like Saturday morning wrestling. They are hard sessions, and it's like, for me, it's like you need those light, playful, technical rounds to figure stuff out, and you can't develop your game if you're going, like say, 100% all the time, and you're not going to see new ideas if you're going 100 miles an hour all the time. Whereas, like this afternoon, we're just playing, and it's kind of like I will try stuff that I might not necessarily trying around that I'm trying to win in.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to figure new stuff out, play with new things, help the guys that are in develop their game, and play into what they need as well. Yeah. So like one of them needs to work on his close guard passing. So every time I roll him, even if it's a light round, he's going in the close guard. Like I'm not gonna start there. I'm gonna pull him into it. Yeah, I'll jump onto it and fucking pull in.
Blow his knees out.
Yeah. And And then like on Tuesday, on the other session, the other lad, another one of them was, I know his game, I know his passing game,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Who was it?
I was playing on so the closed guard one was Ant, and I just kept calling him to closed guard and basically making him figure his own pathways out, and then if he's going something wrong, try this and this and keep going. Where it's like, I know he's looking for certain entries, so I'm going to shut those down to
certain entries while he's passing.
while he's passing and things like that, and see where he goes and see what response he gets.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, when I say sat down, just went through, and I basically explained to him, I was like, mate, I was being a dick there because of that. Because at the time I was like,
Did he know or not?
He didn't know until after the round. Because I won't tell people until after the rounds for things like that.
Yeah.
And I explained to it, and he was like, yeah, it makes sense. And then today when we came in and I was telling him the same stuff, and he had a completely different approach.
Shifted it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, as a coach, we need to be doing that anyway. But there's a time and a place for those kinds of things, and also there's a time and a place where I'm gonna let him get into his entries. I'm gonna, because I want to work on those aspects as well myself, but also I want to see how good he's getting on it.
Yeah.
Because I can't measure his skill set if I'm not also experiencing it. So it's, I think it's like an approach that a lot of people
with the open mat style. Yeah.
Like put yourself out of your comfort zone.
Well, they're fighting, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. They're fighting, and if you're fighting, you're not learning a lot.
No.
I mean, of course, there's a time and place to spar hard.
Yeah.
If there's anything people need more, it's sparring hard.
Yeah.
Especially these fucking days. But yeah, don't. If there's 10 rounds on the clock, don't do 10 rounds hard.
No.
Just pick and choose. And don't tell your partner either that you're going easy. Don't say, hey mate, I'm just going to take it easy and then go fucking hard.
Yeah. That must be a fucking just a whole grappling thing in itself. Like going in there going, oh, got this injury, got that injury, whatever it is. I'm just going to play light today. And then as soon as you go, okay, boom, collar tie club, or they'll jump back on a leg attack, or they'll sit in your guard and then they'll just jump up and not move. And it's like, you said you were going light. And I'll pull people, like, and I will always tell people to pull your training partners if that's how they're reacting. A, it's going to minimise conflicts. B, you're both going to get something out of the session, because sometimes people don't realise that they're doing it. Like, they might not realise that what they perceive as a light grip is fucking full, uncooled down strength grip. So some people just need telling with things like that as well.
What things would you not just bring back, but add in to the new school from the old school that you think could help, like majority of students now? Some aspects of the old school.
I think training more gi would be like, I think even if you like
so white jacket guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry.
The belt that you get in no gi, that's what you put on.
Yeah. It's like, don't worry, there's not a dress code, you don't have to have branded gis, you don't have to have any special lettering on there. But yeah, I think training gi more, because it does force you to be tighter with your movement, whereas like in no gi you can afford to, like if you're athletic you can afford to be looser, and in the gi it forces you to be very, very, very aware of where your limbs are. And I'd even say,
so across the board, you'd advise for more students train gi.
yeah,
Train gi.
like whether it's once a fortnight, whether it's like once a month, depending on what your commitments are. But I do think the gi is important.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love you said that.
like, because A, it gives you the creativity.
Yeah.
B, like I say, your defense has to be tighter. Because if I've got hold of your sleeve, you're not going to slip your elbow out now.
What do you think, like, in terms of your whole grappling career, when you've had the scariest rounds, have they been in the gi or have they been no gi? Like when you've come away from a round and gone, that was fucking disgusting. Have they been gi or no gi?
I'm going to say they were more no-gi,
You've done more no-gi though.
But I have done more no-gi over the years. I can't really, no, tell a lie.
So what I mean is like, if you feel like fucking hell, I could have got thrown on my head there, or fucking just a bit more danger.
Yeah, to be honest, I felt like more in no-gi,
Yeah.
but that is just due to what I've trained more in over the years and the rooms that I've been in where they've had better like no-gi players, or like if the gi class has been after a no-gi class, everyone's fucked. So the intensity might not be there. But I have had one experience in the gi where I full on had a panic attack, an anxiety attack. But that was due to like humidity and the weather.
Yeah.
And it was 8 or 9 rounds in, the air wasn't moving, and it had been a tough session anyway. And I'd gone right to the door, try and get some fresh air, strip my gi off, and I was just dying.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'd say I felt like I've been in more danger in no-gi rounds, but yeah, like putting the jacket on, it will make you a better player. Like, and I think as well, it will improve your stand-up, especially if you're doing wrestling in the gi and you're playing like the judo rule sets as well as like basically judo grips and wrestling grips and using the jacket. Your wrestling's got to get better because again, you can't slip out. You can't just evade something through like being sweaty.
Yeah.
You have to like untie things and manipulate the grips and the frames and the posts.
I wish people would get away from the people say like, oh, if you only train if you train gi, that's not going to help you with no gi. I just don't. Yeah, I agree with that, but why has everything got to be exactly for one aspect? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you do the gi and train no gi, you do both. I find your leverage and your how methodical you are and your pressure is a lot different to if you just train no gi.
Yeah.
Like if you've never done the gi, you're very loose and you're kind of very fluent. When you put the gi on and someone gets you in top half guard, you quickly realise this is a different kind of fucking game.
Yeah.
And it's a different pressure. Then someone passes into side control, they're like, I don't give a fuck, mate. My shoulders are going in your head.
Yeah.
If you do that in no-gi, some people get the fucking feelings hurt. They're like, oh, he's being a dick, he's put his shoulder in the face. That's grappling, mate.
Yeah.
Because they never put a jacket on, have they?
And even the same with like, say, back to that crossface one, reaching under, grabbing the lapel underneath the armpit, pulling it through to secure the position even more. Like, you're never going to experience that in no-gi, and it's easier to escape positions in no-gi, and you're never going to really know if your side control escapes are effective until somebody's really pinned you down.
Yeah.
And I think it's massively overlooked by a lot of players, and it seems to me it's looked down upon a little bit. Like, I think because we're kind of in that new world now where kind of like traditions get thrown out the window.
Yeah.
And putting the gi on is looked at as being a bit more traditional martial arty. I think that's what puts a lot of people off it. And it's like, it doesn't have to be like that, it's just the outfit. In the same way you put spats, shorts and a rash guard on, it's the exact same as just putting a gi on. It doesn't make it any more formal or anything like that. Like, I'll teach the class the exact same way and I'll carry myself the exact same way. Just because I've got a black belt on doesn't mean I expect you to fucking bow at me and call me sensei. It's like, no, I'm still Sai, I'm just leaving the room.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I think a lot of the guys, not just here, the gyms that I've trained at over the years, the ego would be in check a lot more of kind of where the skill set is, because you can now be like a half decent white or blue belt and get some success.
Yeah.
But if you got the jacket on, it doesn't fucking matter what belt you are.
Well, when I was like purple belt, I was doing like a lot more travelling around. When I'd go to places where they were primarily like no-gi like gyms, and I'd be doing a gi session, and there'd be more experienced gi play, like there'd be more experienced players on the mat who had a primary no-gi base, and when I was playing more gi at that time, I was catching brown and black belts who played primarily no-gi but put the jacket on for the sessions, and it's a very different aspect to the game.
Because you were primarily a purple belt in the gi, you were tapping out black belts in the gi that primarily did no gi.
Yeah. And like I say, it shows that there is a difference between the two sports, and everyone's like, oh, well, you're not like, no one walks around wearing a gi jacket, and this is like the self-defense aspect. It's like, I live in fucking Manchester, mate. Everyone walks around with a coat on. There's no difference between lapels, grabbing somebody by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah.
Like, you can collar choke somebody with a fucking t-shirt if you know how to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is effective.
Yeah, the importance of patience as well. It's massively missed in no-gi.
Yeah.
It's like fucking tummy dryer.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. I said, I made a joke. I was doing a private the other week, and one of the lads, he tried to pass guard, and I said, fucking hell, mate, you're like a dog trying to go for a cat flap. Fucking hell. Feet went over his head. Never get that in the gi.
Fucking brilliant. No. But,
So I was gonna bring up, like, what do you think about? I'm glad you brought that up about adding in the gi for people that solely do no-gi. People that only do no-gi, and obviously you gift them belts for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about if they didn't have a crossover and they're getting them belts? Because I think you should get a belt. No, I'm not saying that what you do is wrong. What I'm saying is you'd want it to feel like if you only did no-gi and you're getting a belt, you can't put it on anywhere. What's the significance? Really, you know deep down if you put a jacket on,
yeah.
you're a white belt.
Yes, yeah, I hear that.
In the jacket.
Like, because there are some players, like, where if they know how to translate their no-gi game over, they will be, like, they might not be, say, takes a brown belt and they play mainly no-gi, they might be in the gi,
Half decent.
fresh purple belt, like good blue belt level, but outside of that they'll be at the level that they're at.
Yeah. So in short, I meant people that do no-gi.
Yeah.
They don't do gi and they get a belt in no-gi.
Yeah, because like when I first started coaching, I had that approach. I was like, I'm not going to grade anybody who doesn't put the jacket on.
Yeah.
And then I just started seeing people get better, and my approach kind of got a bit more relaxed. I was like,
sandbagging.
yeah, I was like, sandbagging here. When they're entering tournaments, they need to, because of the structure of the tournaments, they need to know where they're up to. But also as well, it's like, it's like for me, it's a really good way to commemorate someone's progress.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about being like, okay, do I try and develop like Eddie Bravo did, like my own kind of, not graded syllabus or system, but kind of like what they get handed to them. But no, I just sort of afterwards, after a bit of thinking, I was like, I'm just overcomplicating it. Where if I stick to the sort of criteria that's already there,
If they're good enough, they're good enough.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm like, there's a lot of other really good coaches out there that adopt the same approach, and after a while of really thinking about it, I was like, yeah, there's no harm in it. Like, if anything, it's gonna help them keep getting better because they know that they're getting recognised for the work they're putting in.
Yeah. So that they're not a white belt or something.
Yeah.
White belt that's
Yeah.
still a white belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it's tricky, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
what do you do? I mean, yeah, if someone's really good and they've been training 5 years, do you not give them a belt, like, because you've not put a jacket on? There's pros and cons, isn't there?
Yeah.
I think they then though would have a tricky time, wouldn't they, doing gi? If they're a purple belt and they've never really put the gi on.
Oh,
it's
100%.
a tricky time, wouldn't
But for me as well, if they've got no intention of putting the gi on, then who am I to say that they're not a purple belt or whatever in no gi grappling?
Yeah.
And if they then went on to maybe open their own school up and that, they might only teach no gi, and then that's their evolution of their sort of growth in the sport as well.
Yeah. A lot of gyms are going down that route, aren't they?
Yeah.
Predominantly no gi.
Yeah.
I was listening to a really good gym called Sydney West in Australia, in Penrith, and they that's Josh Saunders and can't remember his other name. The coach, really good. And they only teach gi for the kids.
Okay.
And we do no gi for the adults.
Fair.
Doesn't teach any gi because he's like he understands the niche kind of amount that people want to still do gi. If he just makes it a blanket kind of no gi, classes are bigger.
Yeah.
We're all together, but you find doing gi in the younger, younger crew keeps things tighter, slows things down.
And I guess as well with the kids as well, they will have that impression that the gi jacket like means discipline.
Yeah.
Like, because they'll look at sort of other sort of form of martial arts. They might not have an idea of what grappling is, but they'll see karate, they'll see judo, they'll see like all your more traditional sort of martial arts, and they all get associated with respect, humility, honour, like all your sort of stuff you want to get from martial arts. So then they'll go to their grappling class, put the gi on, and then they'll go into that kind of mindset. Whereas if they turn up in this shorts and t-shirt,
Yeah.
look at the football coaches and things like that, the kids are running around like early cats, and it's like, I think I like that idea, I like that approach.
Yeah. You got anything else you want to add, mate, to the old and new school?
No, I think that's, I think we managed to get everything out there, mate.
Yeah.
Anything else for you?
Maybe just touch on kind of what your thoughts are, like knowing someone's kind of starting with the no-gi, and maybe they've not brought up whether they want to stick with no-gi or gi. What's kind of your approach for that? Do you kind of just let them?
I'll always say go with what you enjoy.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna spend more time in the sport,
Yeah.
and it's gonna help the sport grow. And because at the end of the day, you join a gym for yourself. You join the gym for enjoyment. You're not gonna keep going. Like if you didn't enjoy working out, you wouldn't keep going to the gym. So it's why would you again pigeonhole yourself into doing something that you don't enjoy doing? And you're then not going to keep it up, and then the long-term effects that's going to have on that person.
What happens if they don't know, mate? Because you know what I mean, they're not exposed to gi. You know what I mean? They never put the gi on.
I always say try both.
I'll say
try both.
Yeah, okay.
And go with what you enjoy. And if you can't decide, play both for a while.
Yeah.
If you can only make 2 nights a week, make one night gi night, one night no gi night, and see what you enjoy doing more, and then just go from there.
And then watch instructions and don't ask you a question again.
Yeah, that's the crucial bit of advice there as well.
I'll get it finished. Yes, so what about this outside heel hook?
You've been training 2 weeks, what are you doing?
Show this inversion here.
Fuck it out. Oh shit.
One of the guys last week, I think it was Aaron, was showing a heel hook and he was like, oh, Johnny's fucking, he doesn't like his instructions. I fucking like him, I don't hate him, I'm not hating on anyone.
No, because for me, like, I love the instructionals where it's more conceptual. Like, there was a Mendes Brothers guy passing one that it's about an hour long, I think, and they were just talking about the concepts of what they do while they're passing.
Yeah. And
it was brilliant. There was no sort of sitting there going, here's step A, B, C, D, E for this technique that you're probably not going to land. They're like, well, here's my approach to outside passing. Here are the grips I do. Here's why I use these grips. Here's a few examples. And go and play with the concept. And for me, I was like, that's amazing.
In the gi.
It was in the, actually wasn't, it was I think it might have been Guy Mendes doing a gi instructional.
Yeah, nice one.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, awesome man.
That's it.
Pleasure, mate.
Nice one, bro.
I missed it, pal. I missed it, it was fun.